Hi, welcome to Bookmark. I'm your host, Don Noble. Today's guest is Helen Ellis, author of a comic novel, Eating the Cheshire Cat, set mostly on the campus of the University of Alabama, and a new collection of hysterical stories, American Housewife, set mostly on Manhattan's Upper East Side. Please join me here at the Alabama Booksmith as I talk with Helen Ellis. Helen, it is nice to see you again.
It is nice to see you, Don.
It's been a while.
It has been 15 years.
Oh, no.
I'm a cicada. Here I am.
But you cracked out of your shell again, come out of the ground.
Wait till I'm 60. You're going to see me again.
When we sat down and talked last time, you had, with Scribner's, published Eating the Cheshire Cat, which not only did I love it at the time, but I've actually looked at it some since then and referred to it. It is a great comic campus novel.
Thank you.
It's set in the South. It's set on a college campus.
Roll Tide.
The characters are mostly about 19 years old. Well, we're done with all that.
Yes. We've all aged a little bit since then.
This, recently I had an opportunity to see the profile interview done with you for Vogue and the one in the New York Times. And they both asked you a lot of questions about what happened in the years following Eating the Cheshire Cat. You wrote and wrote and wrote.
I wrote and wrote and wrote, and I failed and failed and failed.
What did you do, and what happened?
Well, I wrote a novel about a poker-playing serial killer. I wrote a novel about a witch in the 1950s. I wrote a novel about a 19th century prostitute, and nobody wanted to publish any of them. And then I quit writing, and nobody cared.
It seems to me, I mean, I know this has to, now it's eased up some since the new book is out, but this has to be a painful business. And let me say that I think poker players and prostitutes and witches are pretty good subjects for fiction.
You would think so, but it turns out I had to just write what I know, which is for the last 10 years I've been myself an American housewife. And I found the best material just in my own kitchen and bathroom and living room and book club. Yeah.
And I do want to talk about wainscoting, about which I know nothing.
Yes.
But
I'm anti-wainscoting.
If there are men loose who know a lot about wainscoting, I'm very suspicious about that. I practically had to look it up. Somebody had to tell me it's that there. But anyway, the books that didn't get published, they circulated because you had some clout. People looked at them. It wasn't as if you could not get anybody to see them, right?
The first one circulated 6 years after the first book was published. I spent 6 years trying to write a perfect second novel and got myself into trouble. I think just overwrote, and then I did it again, and then I did it again. And when I wrote this book, I knew nobody was watching, and my motto was, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be pretty. Which is sort of the way I feel about all of this.
No, perfect will make you crazy. Do not let the perfect be the enemy of the very good.
That's right.
Well, one of those novels, one of those chunks of writing that you did in there was about poker playing, and it's on your dust jacket. It's now a part of every interview and every profile of you. You not only play poker, but you play in tournaments.
Yes, I do.
At a very high level.
It's been a wonderful way to handle my midlife crisis. I've played for years. I started playing when I was 21. My father met me in Las Vegas for my 21st birthday. We went to the Mirage when the volcano was new. We saw Siegfried and Roy when they were in their entirety.
Before one of them had his head bitten off.
And then we went to the Strip, and my father sat me on the Caesar's statue on the middle of the Strip, and he said, "Helen Michelle, look around." And I saw the lights of the Strip, and I saw the lights in the sky, and he said, "This is the center of the universe." So ever since, we meet twice a year and play tournaments, and then I play on my own.
And you win.
I do
time,
okay.
you are a winner. I don't want to see your tax returns.
I do okay at Southern Lady Code for yes, I tear it up.
And one of the things that comes up that you've at least hinted at is that female poker players are underestimated.
Yes, there are about 4% female poker players, and when I go to the poker table, I usually look like this.
Sure.
I'm not in a hoodie, I'm not in sunglasses, I'm not in headphones or flip-flops, and most men either think you do not know what you're doing, or they think you know too much, you would never lie, which is funny because I think most men think women will lie to them, except at the poker table. So I just have to figure out what type of man you are and play accordingly.
I feel weak already.
Yes,
I would.
That's the correct.
I'm sure I wouldn't have a chance. And I'm not a good poker player anyway, but I'm always astonished. So my conclusion from that, my very amateur conclusion, is that that it is about bluffing and the tell rather than the cards.
It is. My poker coach is Matt Matros, who is 3-time bracelet winner. He tells me that when you play a hand, it's telling a story. And it's true, I'm telling you the story of what I have, whether it's a lie or not.
Right.
I'm going to make you believe that I have, 4 aces when I have 7 deuce and squat.
Right,
but you
right.
just have to be convincing. So it's just lying, and it's fun to lie.
We'll get to the mannerisms of Southern ladies later. But some of the stories, the longest story, well, maybe it's the longest, but a story that struck me because it could not have been written 20 years ago, or maybe even 10. You have a story, and I'm seeing some of this now. You have a story that's done in emails.
Yes, it's called the Wainscoting War, and it's between 2 New York City neighbors who live right next door to each other but communicate via email. They share a common vestibule, and a new neighbor moves in and wants to redecorate, and the other does not, and a war ensues.
It escalates grotesquely.
Yes.
But leads me to that story, and then the story about the doormen. A pattern that I think I'm noticing is that these quiet housewife, of course she's an attorney at the start, that one
In the Wainscoting War,
in the
yes,
Wainscoting
yes.
War. These women are actually crazy.
The word that keeps coming up in reviews is unhinged. But I think in Dumpster Diving I say, or the character says, you never know what to expect from a woman who's left alone in her apartment all day long. And I think that a woman's home really is her castle, and when you're alone in it all day long, as I sometimes am, happy to be so, you can get up to a lot of trouble.
Well, in the Wainscoting Wars, I thought that was the most deft because it escalates in these little notches up. They never see each other.
Well,
that
except
you
for
can
one
tell.
moment. Yeah, you never see it.
And the thing just gets more and more vicious until there's destruction of property, and then cats,
And then there's one lady left.
there's only
2
one.
enter, 1 leaves.
Right. But they don't get unhinged because they're alone in their apartments. Because they what is the very autobiographical story? How to be a patron of the arts.
How to be a patron of the arts.
I mean, that woman and you love being home in your apartment.
I do. I think that How to Be a Patron of the Arts, it is the closest to the bone.
Yeah,
it's about a writer
thought it was.
deciding if she's going to write again, and that writer decides that she's not going to write again. She's very happy being a patron of the arts and being married to a lovely man, and supporting a community from the other side. Whereas writing that story first enabled me to decide that maybe I would give it a shot again.
Right. But not only is the Wainscoting Wars a story it's the 21st century version of the 18th century epistolary novel.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Well, you knew that.
Yes, I meant to do that.
Well, you did. I mean, you know,
Yes.
it's exactly, this is the way in which, you know, in a bunch of 18th and early 19th century novels, the letters would take several days to get somewhere and come back. This is instantaneous, so everybody can misbehave instantly and get angry and stay angry.
Yes, and they're just right next door to each other.
Yeah. But you, not only have you written the story, in a sense, it's not social media. I don't think email is social media, but social
Unless
media.
you work at Sony.
But social media was your way back into writing.
It was. It had been years since I'd written, and privately, I told no one, not even my husband, I started an anonymous Twitter account called @WhatIDoAllDay, because that's what people would ask me when I would say I'm a housewife. They would say, "What do you do all day?"
Yes, of course.
And I started tweeting, and the very first story, What I Do All Day, is based on a tweet, or started by a tweet I tweeted after a Super Bowl. I could not tell you what Super Bowl it was, who played, but Beyonce was the halftime act. And so that morning I tweeted, inspired by Beyonce, I stallion walked to the toaster. And it received such an overwhelming response that I thought, well, if I write a book again, that's going to be the first line of the book.
Right.
And that story is compiled of probably 96% tweets from 2 to 3 years of tweeting. I pulled the history, I scanned the history and realized, hey, there's a party going on. And so I wrote sort of a modern day Mrs. Dalloway, except she's not depressed.
Your stories, though, they're collected here. But I'm always curious. I do this all the time. I want to know, where did these stories appear and when?
Oh.
And it was kind of interesting to me that these stories didn't travel from the tweet to the volume.
No.
You sent them out over the transom, didn't you?
It was really a form of gambling that I enjoyed. So each story was written. The first one that got picked up was Hello, Welcome to Book Club. And even the process of submitting stories to literary magazines has changed since I did it 20 years ago in grad school. It used to be you get the big manila envelope and send it off. And now it's all online, so I would send it out to 20 places at a time. Every story went to the New Yorker. Every story was rejected. Except they gave me a very nice note about my novel is brought to you by the good people at Tampax. They wrote one line, "This was very funny."
Yes, right.
So after when I withdrew it from them. So each story, almost every single one was pulled out of the slush of thousands of submitted stories. And people who were pulling them were mostly college age, so had no idea who I was, who Eating the Cheshire Cat,
it wasn't coming with any imprimatur. It wasn't coming from an agent.
No,
it was just arriving. And
I didn't put Eating the Cheshire Cat on it. I just put I've published in Washington Square, parentheses, 15 years ago. And then once people started to pull them, then I could add a few more, credits when I submitted.
And it builds and builds. But after I had read the profiles that have been done of you recently, which looked to me as if you had to recover from a severe ego thrashing, but having those stories chosen out of the slush pile would be exactly the right thing to build back the confidence that you now once again have.
This book is here because of Hayden's Ferry Review, the Normal School, Blue Mesa Review. It's here because of those lit mags, and every time they would pull one, I would think, this feels pretty good, maybe I'll write another one.
Sure.
And I really never even thought it would wind up in a book until it did. It's such a happy surprise.
You mentioned the Tampax story. One of the things that it's a source now of considerable humor, product placement. I mean, nobody in a movie or a television show just brushes his teeth. There's a brand of toothpaste.
That's
Nobody
right.
just has a soda. It's a
Pepsi.
You've taken this to its, I guess, to its extreme.
Well, I thought, what would it be like
Yes.
to make a deal with the corporate devil? And I thought, I see movies sponsored by Coca-Cola,
Yeah, yeah.
and I see TV shows brought to you by, Depends. And I thought, what would it be like to have a novel sponsored by Tampax? And they are very, very involved. At one point, Paula Deen is in the story, and she says to the writer, Tampax is thugs. You don't want to get involved.
Well, you sign your life away.
You
They
sign your
took
life
over
away.
that writer's life.
They did.
You will write on schedule. You will
That's
write so
right.
many words per
And
week.
and she did it.
Or else.
That's right. And
Or-
she experienced a few of those or else's.
It's interesting. You can identify your reader can identify where in popular culture the trigger was for a different story. And Dumpster Dive, the reality TV show where people go to, often they go to locked up storage units and so on. But you have dumpster diving. Is there one? There isn't one, is there?
No, I made it up.
There will be now.
Yeah, I made it
But it's
up.
really antiquing, so to speak.
Yes, yes. I thought to myself, as I was watching Dancing with the Stars and,
Right.
and American Pickers, why is Stephen King not doing the cha-cha? Why is Ann Patchett not bungee jumping on The Amazing Race? I've never seen a writer on one of these shows, and so I thought,
No.
what if a woman tries to get her career back by going on one of these shows? And
Yes,
she
and
did.
you have what I thought was fun, and I think probably my children would get a lot of this more than I get it. But I got the Scientologist all right. But I didn't. There's a Scientologist who is being very manly on this show
Yes,
for fear that somebody would think that he maybe wasn't as
yes.
actor
Yes.
Scientologist, that he wasn't as manly as he should be. But I didn't get the tennis player in high heels.
I think I had someone in mind, but I think some folks just like to have fun on these shows, and I think she was there probably just to have fun with Mario Batali, who was there just to have fun, and they buddied up and had a good time.
And you like John Lithgow.
You don't
Everybody
know.
does.
I got a little bit of a crush out there on the page. Yes, he is very well portrayed, although I've never met the man. Yet.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a marvel. Of course, everybody.
Yes.
Not all the stories are funny.
No.
The Fitter is the least funny, but a very touching story.
Thank you.
Brassieres are terrifically important to women.
Yes, yes, they're a tiara for your tatas. Yes, they are. And The Fitter is about a woman whose husband has the magical gift of being able to look at a woman and judge her bra size. But out of respect to his wife and the women, he doesn't do the fitting. The wife does the fitting. And, as you might imagine, that causes a little bit of jealousy on the wife's part, because all those women want her man.
Now, what I saw there, little that I know about this, is the implication is pretty clear that most women have hosiery that doesn't, not hosiery, lingerie.
Lingerie.
That doesn't really fit?
That's right.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
Why is it true?
I think women can be embarrassed about going in and being properly sized. I think that you somehow think that you are the same size that you were when you were 18. And I myself got a fitter at the age of 36, and it's, been the best investment I ever made, because I'm keeping it together without exercise or Botox, so I need a good bra.
I'll just take your word for
Yes.
that. But I don't think that gynecologists could operate the same way.
No. Don't think about it too
leaving
hard.
that behind. A couple other stories that have a layer of humor, but like a marble cake, really mixed in.
I love that.
One
Thank
is
you.
the pageant story, and another is the book club story. And you've got a devious kind of humor. Well, the pageant story is.
It's called Pageant Protection, and I thought to myself, I really thought about the story when I was watching the last season of Breaking Bad, And there is a moment where Walter White gets into a van to go into witness protection, and I thought, what if a 6-year-old toddler and tiara queen wanted to get out of town? And that is what this is about. It's about a woman who traffics toddler and tiara types to new homes and new lives.
She rescues little girls who are sick of being little 6-year-old beauty queens, or
Yes.
7-year-olds, or 8-year-olds,
Mhm.
whatever.
It's the 10 and older that it's
Right.
harder to place.
But what I saw, and you can tell me if you see this the same way, I saw a real link to the book club story, because the 6, 7, 8-year-old ex-beauty queens, little Miss Cotton Bowl from Houston or whatever, is going to be sent to a home where she's going to be adopted by
Yes.
childless people.
Yes. That's
And
a really
then the
good
book
connection.
club,
Yes.
they take in a member. Why?
Well, hello, welcome to book club. There's a young woman coming into a book club, and the ulterior motive is to use her as a surrogate for all the 40-something-year-old women in the book club. She'll be very well taken care of, but you're the first to draw that conclusion, and that is a very astute realization.
So sterility on the Upper East Side.
It's not necessarily sterility. I think that I don't want to say
Procrastination
unlike
on the Upper
Alabama.
East
I
Side.
think definitely on the Upper East Side, I see a lot of double strollers attached to 40-something-year-old women. There is I think women put it off for a very long time.
Sure.
And I see a lot of it, and I see a lot of people going through extreme measures to have children late in life.
They go to law school, they make partner, they decide at 41 they're going to have children. It's very difficult, and other complicated means have to be employed.
It's hard to get pregnant after 40 years old.
It's
Phew.
supposed to be. Well, aside from, here you are, the genuine Southern lady, but aside from the fitter, the story about the Georgia bra fitter, these stories are mostly up east, or even up the Hudson Valley. I think the dumpster diving goes right up.
It does.
Goes right up in the direction of Albany. But there's one bit here, and I'd love for you to indulge me. There's one here that just takes you right back to your native dialect and your native language. The story, it's only 1 page long, really. It's called The Southern Lady Code, and it's about what Southern ladies really mean.
Bless their hearts.
Is this too dressy? Is Southern Lady Code 4?
I look fabulous, and it would be in your best interest to tell me so.
I'm not crazy about it.
I hate that more than sugar-free punch.
What do you think about her?
I don't like her.
She's always been lovely to me.
I don't like her either.
She has a big personality.
She is as loud as a T-Rex.
She's the nicest person.
She is as boring as pound cake.
She has beautiful skin.
She's as white as a tampon.
She's old.
She is as racist as Southern Sandy Duncan in Roots.
You are so bad.
That is the tackiest thing I have ever heard, and I am delighted that you shared it with me.
No, you're so bad.
Let's snitch and bitch.
She's a character.
Means drunk.
She has a good time.
Means slut.
She's sweet.
Means Asperger's.
She's outdoorsy.
Means lesbian. That's Southern Lady Code 4. I don't agree with you, but I am polite enough not to rub your nose in it.
Nice talking with you.
Party's over. Now scoot.
Well, our party's almost over. I really only have one more thing that I'd like to ask, and that is, with this renewed confidence, renewed energy, and this is clearly going to be a successful book.
Oh, thank
I mean, it has
you.
successful book written all over it.
Thank you.
And you're on an extensive tour. More than national? Are they sending you overseas?
Yes, they're sending me next in February. I go to London.
Oh,
I
good.
go to Australia.
Ah.
I'll be going to Edinburgh. It's exciting.
Yes. So therefore, you're not done writing. You can't possibly. You must have projects. And I'm curious. I was curious when I read some things about you, and again here today. You're writing something new. Are you going to do something with the manuscripts that you have? What is the project that we could look for next?
Well, at the very moment, I'm not working on anything. I am really enjoying being in the moment. The book sold just last year on April Fool's Day, so I'm kind of still worried this is all a joke. So I'm just having a good time. But I am thinking about short stories. These were such a pleasure to write. They came very easily, and when I think about what to work on next, I do think in story format as opposed to novel format. It's like a little Hershey's Kiss as opposed to a 12-layer wedding cake.
It's
For
it's
me.
more like
Ooh.
it's more like casino than it is like all-in poker.
Yes, it's kitchen table poker, not the World Series of Poker.
Yeah, all-in novels they are such a huge investment, and if you've got a dozen more like this in you, I'm looking forward to them.
Thank you. Oh, I did get good news this week that Scribner is putting Eating the Cheshire Cat back into print.
Oh, good. And I think it will sell a few
I hope so.
on the buzz from American Housewife.
I hope so.
But Helen, it's so nice to see you again, and I hope it's nowhere near as long next time.
I hope not either.
Thank you.
Thank you.